Question is going to be, do these emails or does other information cause anyone in the MAGA movement to start?
Welcome to Legacy Talk, where we analyze the moments that define and threaten political legacies. Today, we break from our usual commentary for some breaking news that promises to reshape the political landscape. For years now, the story of Jeffrey Epstein has loomed over the powerful. But in just the last minutes, the House Oversight Committee has released a bombshell, a cache of never-before-seen emails from Epstein's estate. These are not just documents. They are private conversations, unguarded thoughts, and damning statements. And they mention one name directly, a name that Jeffrey Epstein seemed to believe he had leverage over: Donald Trump. What did Trump know? And when did he know it? Let's break down the evidence. House Democrats have been scouring over more than 23,000 documents, flagging 3 specific emails that paint a disturbing picture of the relationship between Trump and Epstein and his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. The first email is a chilling exchange between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein from 2011. In it, Epstein writes that Donald Trump had spent hours at his house with an unnamed, redacted victim of sex trafficking. But it's Epstein's description of Trump that is the most haunting. He referred to him as the dog that hasn't barked. A dog that hasn't barked. In intelligence circles, that phrase refers to someone who knows something important but is choosing to stay silent. It implies knowledge. It implies complicity. The second email fast-forwards to 2019. Epstein is corresponding with author Michael Wolff. The context is explosive. Epstein says explicitly that Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls as he was asking Ghislaine to stop her activities. Let that sink in. Not that Trump was merely a social acquaintance, but that he knew about the girls. This directly contradicts Trump's public statements that he knew nothing of Epstein's criminal enterprise. The third email, from 2015, is perhaps the most strategically revealing. Epstein and Michael Wolff are discussing how to craft an answer for an upcoming Donald Trump interview. Wolff suggests that Epstein holds significant power over Trump, writing that if Trump denies being on Epstein's plane or at his house, it would give Epstein, quote, valuable PR and political currency. In other words, they were discussing leverage. The correspondence suggests a belief that Trump's denials could be easily disproven, giving Epstein a powerful tool to control the narrative, and potentially the man himself. Now, before we go any further, a critical disclaimer is necessary. Jeffrey Epstein was a manipulative monster. As Justice reporter Ken Delanian noted, you can't take anything he says to the bank. He was a master of using information, real or fabricated, to control people. However, we cannot simply dismiss this out of hand. Legal analyst and former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance made a crucial observation. The first email, the one calling Trump the dog that hasn't barked, is dated 2011. This was years before Trump's political career began in earnest. At that time, Epstein would have had very little incentive to lie about Trump in a private email to Ghislaine Maxwell. The context suggests this was a candid assessment, not a political ploy. It fills in the blanks of a picture Trump has desperately tried to keep hidden. Politically, this is the story Donald Trump just wants to go away. For months, he has successfully managed to quell any discussion of his relationship with Epstein within the MAGA ecosystem. He reportedly told influencers to stop talking about it, and for the most part, they obeyed. Some analysts even believe that former Speaker Johnson sent the House home early for the holidays, specifically to avoid this conversation and delay the swearing in of a new Democratic Congresswoman who could shift the balance of power on key votes. But now, the dog is beginning to bark. The emails are out, and it creates a fascinating paradox. For years, the MAGA movement has screamed about a conspiracy to cover up the truth about Jeffrey Epstein. They've demanded the release of flight logs, client lists, and unredacted files. They have turned their anger toward the FBI, the Justice Department, and anyone they believe is a part of the deep state. But now, the very material they have been demanding points directly at their own leader. The Trump administration controlled these files. And today, the Justice Department, under his very own appointed officials, has maintained its position. We're not releasing anything more. This brings us to the ultimate question, the one that could define Trump's political legacy. The MAGA. Base has not yet turned its fire on Donald Trump personally. They have attacked his appointees like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel for what they saw as inaction, but Trump himself has remained largely immune. Will that change? These emails, whether they lead to criminal charges or not, have created a political crisis. They are a test of loyalty versus principle for his most ardent followers. Do they continue to believe in a shadowy conspiracy, or do they start asking why their own leader is at the center of the story he so desperately wants buried? Will anyone in the MAGA movement start turning their attention to Donald Trump and asking him directly, "What are you hiding?" These emails do not prove criminal guilt, but they paint a devastating picture of proximity, knowledge, and potential leverage. They suggest, bottom line, that for years, a powerful silence was maintained. The question now is, will that silence hold? Or will the dog that hasn't barked finally be forced to answer for what it knows? What do you think is the most damning revelation from these emails? And do you believe this will have any impact on Trump's political base? Let us know in the comments down below. For more deep dives into the legacies shaping our world, make sure to subscribe to Legacy Talk. Thanks for watching.